This next question is that I'm an empath and I can sense the soulless beings that I encounter, but it comes across most of the time as disgust for them. I feel very separate from them. How is the experience with themselves? Okay, this is interesting. When we say soulless beings, and this is what we were talking about before in relation to these new concepts that come along, and then everybody jumps onto these concepts, and then because they seem to fit something that we're experiencing, we then give them this title, soulless. But the interesting part about this is what is the soul? I think we talked about this last week, is the soul is the energy that fills everything. And so there's a soul in plastic. And if you want to argue about that, then you're arguing against nature, because plastic comes from nature. And so every single thing here contains an element of the energy and an aspect of the energy, and is completely filled with the energy. Now, of course, the grades, the qualities, the amounts and all that, you can leave that up to the alchemists in order to determine what are the measures and things with that. But just to say that it has none at all, that's an extreme. And once one forms a foundation on something like that, there are soulless beings. Now, there are beings that don't contain as much soul, but there are no beings that don't have any soul. And then again, when you're even saying soul, maybe you're thinking about empathy, not so much as a soul. And that's what, in Sanskrit, at least, they do really well at separating all of these things. In English, they do a horrible job because they make one word to account for everything. So you could say, well, I come across unempathic beings that don't care about others. That means beings that may be tied more into the reptilian aspect of the consciousness, which is one side of the brain. So they're into the I-ness themselves, and they don't really care about the collective and the whole mammalian warmth and all that kind of stuff. And so they lack empathy in that way. And when you kind of try to send a beacon out to them or ping them, they're like, get out of here with that. I don't want to be loved. I don't want to be held. Look at you. You look stupid, blah, 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 blah. And then that's the energy that you're feeling. But to actually say that they're soulless, then that's an incorrect interpretation of it. So how do people that don't have empathy fit in with the experience of self? That's the part of self where one has not gained empathy yet. Meaning that it's almost as if that, especially in the tribal setting, things like empathy are trained or honed in over generations. That's why you generally have shamans, or you generally have medicine women and men that actually come from long lineages of their fathers and their fathers' fathers, and then also in the mothers and mothers' mothers, and the tribe even electing them to be able to do these things because they can do stuff like, as what we called as the pinnacle, leading us into the wild hunt, meaning giving us the ability to actually be able to sustain ourselves by guiding us to the things that actually nourish us to completion. So this is a very important aspect of something that we need to remember, is that not everybody has empathy, because many are just beginning on this journey and haven't had the pleasure yet of being involved in a mindful spectrum where empathy is used as a tool in order to be able to be more harmonic with those that are around them. So 1-strand DNA versus 2-strand, 3-strand, 4-strand, then we keep moving up the ladder of lights from there. But again, to say that they're soulless is a grave mistake, because then you would actually then insist that there's some things that can't contain a soul, and this gets you going in the wrong directions.